The last session was all on soft skills. I now take you back to the world of hard skills. An overview of the infrastructure equipment sector. While the presentations take time to come on, a brief on our sector council. The construction equipment industry was to the tune of about 60,000 machine sales about 10 years back. It was expected that this will go up to about 300,000 machines over the next decade or so. And based on those demands of skilled manpower, our council was formed. In the absence of the presentation, I will just hand you over the brochure, which gives you an overview of the Infrastructure Council. We have been promoted by the Indian Construction Equipment Manufacturers Association, supported by the CII, that is the construction equipment industry, and financial funding from the NSDC, working overall under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, which means we are under 4 agencies. We are talking about Skill India, Skill India. Just want to tell you that a couple of centuries ago, before the Britishers came, India was the skill capital of the world. We were one of the richest countries. The quality of our products by our artisans, our craftsmen, etc., were unmatchable in the world. We were just a golden duck just waiting to be plucked. We are getting back. It's a beginning. It's a good start. So this was what I was just mentioning, that going forward, to cater for this demand, we would be needing an excess of 1 million operators and mechanics to man these machines, working on the scale of 2 operators per machine and 1 mechanic for about 15 odd machines that are sold. The members of our council, it's the who's who in the world of construction equipment industry, all multinationals. The majority of them have set up base in India following the opening of our economy in the 90s. World-class facilities. Most of the products that are being manufactured are also being exported. High-end technologies. The segments that we cover: earth moving, mining, highways, material preparation processing, defense, plant hiring, leasing, and active engagement of 90% of the workforce in the industry. And this is our product portfolio: backhoe loaders, excavators, cranes, crushers, screeners, the mobile trucks, name it, and it's there. And I can assure you, gentlemen, notwithstanding what the previous speakers, last panel session, etc. said, 20 years from now, these machines will still be there. Artificial intelligence, robot, bot, whatever it is, to get our country moving up construction, these machines will be required. We have, gentlemen, around developed 33 odd job roles to primarily level 3 and level 4. And we have about 50 odd training centers, 200 certified trainers. And right now, in our 3rd year, we have trained close to about 3,000 personnel. Now, just to dwell a little bit on why the numbers are a little less and not more. When we went to develop these standards, there was a lot of discussion on the minimum educational levels. Everyone said that the people have got to be 10th pass and that's it. When we went to the field, we saw most of the machines we were visualizing a junior operator, senior operator. Most of them had just one operator, all these machines, but he had one person next to him. We used to normally call him as chotus. They are the ones, or the helpers or the assistants, who did all the greasing, cleaning, etc. And when we went to the same site 3 months later and 2 months later, you found that this chotu was sitting on the operator seat. He had upgraded himself and he was operating the machine, and absolutely no formal training, no certification, etc., no licensing, nothing. And today, gentlemen, 65% of our industry is, I wouldn't say it disorganized, I'll say unorganized. Now, all these people, the helpers, etc., the assistants, the chotus, they are all not even 8th standard pass, they're all 6th and 7th dropouts. And it is for them that we made a special standard for NSQF at level 3, which is semi-skilled. NSQF level 4 is skilled. A lot of discussion went on at the ministerial level. Why don't you make it as 8th pass and things like that? So I told them, this is the hard reality. You cannot exclude these people from the ecosystem. They are it is a fact of life, and you got to accept them, you got to funnel them, and you got to get them into the system. Another session on their title. Why don't you call them as helpers? As at the moment you call them as helpers, their future is sealed. We call them as junior operators. And the other challenge is, gentlemen, all our job roles are non-aspirational. Nobody wants to come here. The trend today is all for white collars, no blue collars. And this is a mindset that we have to change. Many of the panel speakers in the previous session had made a mention about it. Our mindset has to change. Going forward, we made a career progression chart. We have made a career progression for these operators where none existed before. This is there in the brochure with you. And this is what we had made. At least an operator has some future. Other milestones to drive this forward: we have signed MOUs with the states. We have made a foray into the Northeast. We have tied up with the colleges now for their curriculums to be partially modified, to be partially changed, to make it make the boys industry ready. And skilling of people in the other areas, like the others, the Army, creation of centers of excellence, industry recognition, and machines are now started picking up. We suffered a hit during the demonetization period because most of our transactions are in hard cash. It is all the rental fleet. So that took a hit, but now it has slowly started picking up. And we hope that going forward, we would be able to, start skilling in the numbers that we want. And the good news is, gentlemen, that the CMM Act is going to see the light of the day soon. It is the Construction Equipment, Construction, Earth Moving, Mining and Machinery Act, which makes it mandatory that no one can operate these machines without a license. It will be something parallel to the Motor Vehicles Act that you have. India is one of the few countries where now nothing exists. Anybody can sit into an excavator or a backhoe loader and operate it. Those days are all coming to an end. So when that happens, you can be rest assured that the people who man these machines would be trained and certified and also licensed. Because there are 3 ministries involved: road transport, the skills development, and the HRD ministry. The internal issues are getting resolved. In a year or 2 time, this will see the light of the day. And the last point which I would like to leave as a food for thought: since you all are, educational background, training, etc., just a food for thought is that there is a need to slowly start, changing our curriculum in the schools and colleges. Our educational policy, our curriculum, etc., were all made by the Britishers to suit their needs. It was okay till about the 60s, 70s. After that, when our industries opened up, when our manufacturing base started growing, etc., the disconnect started from there. To the extent that, like many panel speakers I'd said before, we are excellent as far as theory goes in the schools and colleges, but practical, nothing. We can teach the Ohm's law, Boyle's law, etc., theory of how the engine works, but when it comes to just a simple tappet setting, they are not up to it. So this is where we have to change our mindset, and it begins from at the lower level, that we got to see that people move towards these jobs. And once when they do that, you can be rest assured that our infrastructure base will be very strong.